Okay, just admitting somebody here. Okay, good morning. This is Lou Chain with Keller Williams Realty Professionals. Joey and I are doing these weekly lunch and learns, and today our speaker is Christina Woida. She's a life coach, and I will let her do her own introduction in just a moment. We're also doing this as a benefit for Campaign Zero, which works to change policy and reform police brutality. And Christina, you can also mention a little bit more about that if you'd like. So take it away.
All right. Yeah, so what I love about this little lunch and learn situation, hi Julia, is that we do, you can support different nonprofits, and I really wanted to support somebody who was working on policy, on the policy level. So Campaign Zero is a national organization that's working on policy to end police brutality. So if you want to contribute to their work, then please do so. And then as far as me, I am a certified life coach. I work with entrepreneurs and other goal-oriented humans to kind of get out of their own way. So we do the inner work necessary for having outer success. So that's kind of where I focus. And today I just wanted to run down 4 of my, hi Susie, yay. 4 of my favorite kind of tools to use insofar as getting you a little bit more in control of yourself so that you can move yourself forward. 3 of the 4 of these tools are inner work. And the first one we're going to talk about is more of an outer kind of positive habit that you can bring in as well. So the first one we're going to talk about is a morning routine. And I know you've probably heard this before and maybe have kind of been like, yeah, but I swear to God, the morning routine is super important. And the way that I talk about the morning routine is that it starts the night before. So there are 2 pieces to this that start the night before. And the first one I'm going to talk about has been a major game changer in my life. And this is, well, actually, I'm going to ask you all a question. How many of you sleep with your phone next to your bed? You can just raise your little hand there. Not Susie, not that we've had a conversation, huh? Anyway, so, and then the second question is good job, Annie. I'm just looking at her chat here. She says, nope. Good job, girl. Okay, so then the second question is, how many of you, is it the first thing you look at in the morning? The first thing you grab? Yep. Okay.
But that's a new habit.
Well, it's time to break it. Good thing it's new. Okay, so getting that phone away from your bed, it's going to start the night before. About 30 minutes to an hour before you go to bed, I highly suggest turning that phone on silent and plugging it in somewhere outside of your room. So I keep mine in the kitchen. If it has to be in your room, fine. Just make it that it's far away from your bed. So here's what happens. When that's the first thing that you pick up in the morning, first of all, you stay horizontal much longer than you want to be. And even just staying there a little bit longer than you want to starts to work on your psyche, and you start thinking, I never do what I say I'm going to do. I need to get up, but I'm always just laying here. And you already start to have this negative self-talk, and you're already starting your day kind of not with your best foot forward. The second thing that often happens is we're reading news or getting into our emails that starts raising our cortisol levels, our stress hormone, right off the bat in the morning. And this, again, will start to contribute to like not feeling as motivated, not having that kind of oomph to get up and go. And then especially if you start looking at social media, what it often does is start that comparison game. Oh, they say they get up, they get their shit done. How come I'm still laying here? And you start playing that comparison game. And so this is just not an ideal way to start your day. It just starts you off in a negative mind frame from the get-go. So if you can do this one little thing to help you set your day up for success, I highly suggest it. All right. So night before, you're going to put it on silent. The alarm will still work. I promise you. Hi, Paigey. I can see your beautiful face. Yeah, your alarm will still work, so you can still use it, or you can just get an old-fashioned alarm clock. The second thing that I want to say to do the night before is to plan your next day the night before, right? So I have a planner, this beautiful thing. I use it in conjunction with my phone calendar. So my phone calendar holds all my appointments, anything that is known, right? I have this at 2 o'clock on Thursday, this at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. So all of my known appointments go in my phone. And then on Sundays, this is what I call Sunday planning. On Sundays, I get out my planner, where I handwrite, and it's done into the whole week in each day. And I use block scheduling. You can see I block off chunks of time. And I fill in all of my knowns, right? So I put in all of the stuff that I already know is happening into my weekly planner. Then on the side of that, I have a to-do list. And this is where I write out all the things that I want to get accomplished that week. I don't plug them into my calendar yet. I just get them all out of my head on Sunday. And then it's like a plug and play. So the night before, you're going to start to write the details of your next day. So you can start taking from your to-do list and plug it into different slots of that day. This does two things for you. It's going to help you sleep better because you're going to get all of that information out of your head and down on paper. So it's just there ready for you the next day. So you're not laying in bed thinking, okay, tomorrow I need to call my mom. I need to return the email to so-and-so. I need to go grocery shopping. What do I need at the grocery store? I need, da, da, da. And then you just start going, right? And then you can't really fall asleep. So this gets it all out of your head, onto your calendar, onto your planner, and it's there for you when you wake up in the morning. Now, when you wake up in the morning, I do not want you to touch your phone for at least 30 minutes, if not an hour, okay? Because we want you to take this morning time as sacred time for you. Because what do we do all day? All day we're working and we're giving. We're giving our energy to our clients, to our work, to our friends, to our animals. You know, we're giving all day long. And you cannot pour from an empty cup. So that's what morning routines are really good for. They're good for filling yourself up before you start giving it all away. So I want you to take a second, and I will shut my mouth here for a second. And I just want you to think about, what is your ideal morning routine? So as an example, I get up, I make myself a little bit of coffee. I have a book and I sit and I drink my coffee and I read my book for about a half an hour. Then I go and I move my body, whether it's just a walk or some yoga or do a run, something like that. And then I come back and I meditate, and then I shower, and then I start my day. So that's my morning routine. And I don't look at my phone until I sit down to really start the productive part of my day. So having this little sacred time for you in the morning to set yourself up for success, to fill up your own cup before you go and give it all away to everybody, is really important. And it's going to allow you to have a better handle on your day, so that as you go through it, you're going to be better able to manage your stress levels, the various emotions that might arise throughout the day. So this is key. And I am constantly pushing my clients to honor their morning routine. Okay, so that was practice number one. And I call them practices because that's what it is. You're going to be practicing, right? We don't pick up a violin and become a virtuoso immediately. You have to actually practice. You're going to be creating new neural networks, new neural firings. And so you have to keep practicing it till those neural networks become more, they get wrapped in what's called myelin, and they become just more default. They're quicker, faster to happen. Okay, so I'm going to stop after each of these practices and just check in and see if there's any questions. Does anybody have any questions or comments about morning routine, getting rid of phone, and doing your planning the night before? Life's good? Feeling good? Okay, all right. Okay, we're going to move on. Now we're moving into some inner work. All right. So that's really the only one that is kind of the outside of us. But I swear by it. So I encourage you to try at least a week's experiment of seeing how your life changes if you do it for 1 week. Just check it out. See how it goes. Okay. Number two, we're going to get a handle on our thoughts and emotions, because those drive a lot of our behaviors and choices. So hear me when I say this. The only thing that you are ever in your entire life gonna be able to control is yourself. That's it. Just yourself. That's the only thing you have the ability to control, right? We can't control other people. We can't control our animals. We can't control our partners, our children, life situations, outcomes. We can't control them. We might be able to influence them. We can have some influence, but we can never guarantee an outcome. We can't control it. This self is the only thing we actually have the ability to control. And so I highly suggest that we get good at it, that we get good at self. And one of the highest aspects of self, right? Because there's lots of aspects. We've got body, we've got thought, we've got emotion, we've got intellect, we've got spirit, we've got so many parts to us. One of the highest aspects of self is our conscious awareness. So the ability to choose where we focus our awareness is key. All right. So most of the time, our awareness is just kind of running loose up in what I call our thought cloud, right? That little cloud that lives above our heads in comics where we think. Our awareness is just kind of up here. And I want to introduce a metaphor. So you know that saying, oh, I was having this train of thought. So if we think about thoughts like trains and our brain like little Grand Central Station, and there's all these little trains rolling through, we hop on different trains and we ride them to their destination. So we might hop on the how am I going to make banana bread train? Or how am I going to hang this picture straight train? Or how am I going to get to brunch on Saturday? Whatever. These trains, they're helpful, right? We get on this train, we figure out the solution, we ride it, it works. Now, we also happen to get on negative trains, and most of these are habitual. So I call them habitual negative thought patterns. And habits are subconscious, right? So here's an example. At one point, you decided how you were going to brush your teeth. I'm going to do the top left first and go to the front, to the side, and then whatever. You decide how you want to do it, right? Now you don't think about it anymore. It's subconscious. You can do your whole teeth brushing routine and be done and be like, shit, did I hit all the spots? I must have. I do it the same way every day, You don't have to think about it anymore. It's subconscious. It's a habit. Similarly, thought patterns can become subconscious habits as well. So here's an example. Let's say you get on the what if train. Well, what if this happens? Or what if that happens? Or what if I'm not good enough? Or what if da-da-da? And we ride that what if train to the destination. What do you think destination of what if train is? Anxiety, worry, hopelessness, depression. That's not a helpful destination. So we want to start catching these habitual negative thought patterns that we get on. And now you're kind of probably like, well, if they're subconscious, how do I catch them? We actually have a handy little indicator, and that's our emotions. So emotions follow thought. Emotions are like the shadow of a thought. We have a thought. If it's a particularly triggering thought, it's going to release neurotransmitters, which are mostly hormones. Those hormones run through the bloodstream. They look for neural connectors. We have a lot of neurons in our heart and our gut, not just our brain. So these neurotransmitters are going to run through the bloodstream, find a connection. They'll make that connection. They have a reaction. We perceive that reaction as sensation, and then we interpret that sensation as an emotion. Okay? So our natural state, humans' natural state, is calm, peace, ease, contentment. That's our natural state. That's when we're just humming along, doing our thing. If we're feeling any emotions outside of those, that's your indicator. Hey, something's wrong. So you'll see, I love metaphors. So a metaphor is kind of like your engine light in your car. When your car is running at it, in its natural state, it's just humming along, a little well-oiled machine, windows are down, air in your hair, music going, you're getting from point A to point B. That's its natural state. Next thing you know, the engine light comes on and you're like, shit, something's wrong. It doesn't tell you what is wrong. It just says something's wrong. So you have to go lift up the hood and look and investigate what's wrong. Similarly, if you're having a shitty emotion, if you're not feeling peace, contentment, ease, that's your engine light. Something's wrong. It doesn't tell you what's wrong. You have to look under the hood. Look at your thoughts. What are you thinking? So that's how you're going to be able to recognize when you're even on a habitual negative thought train. Okay. When you're feeling shitty, you're most likely having a shitty thought. So once you recognize you're on a negative thought train, you're going to ask yourself these two questions. You're going to ask yourself, is it true? Is this thought true? Most likely no. The what ifs, we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know if they're true. We're just making that shit up. So is it true? Second, is it helpful? Hell no. Worry is not helpful. Trying to find a solution is helpful. When that solution finding dips into worry, no longer helpful. Worry is a little trick. Your brain thinks you're actually doing something, like you're actually solving something. You're not. At this point, you're just worrying and you're getting closer to anxiety. Okay, is it true? Is it helpful? If the answer to either of those is no, you have two directions you can go at this point. The first direction is to just flip the coin, right? We've been looking at all the shit about this situation. Flip it over. Ask yourself these two questions. What am I grateful for about this exact situation? The exact situation you were just on a negative train about? Ask yourself, what are you actually grateful for about this situation? Even if it's just one thing, it's going to shift your perspective. And the second question is, what are my opportunities here? This is going to open up possibilities. Whereas the negative train closes down possibilities, the positive direction train of asking what are your opportunities open up possibilities. And also asking what your opportunities are plays into this idea. Another little saying that I use a lot is adapt or die. So that's basically the premise of survival of the fittest, right? It's not who's the strongest, it's who's the best at adapting. And how do you adapt? You adapt by accepting the reality of your situation, accepting the reality of what is in front of you. So asking for your opportunities is basically accepting the reality of what it is and making your next best move, adapting to that reality and making your next best move, okay? So just changing your thoughts will help change your emotion. Okay, so that was one direction you could go after you realize that the thoughts you were having are neither true nor helpful. The second option is if that thought train you were on, that let's say what if, or maybe comparison, I'm not like good enough, I'm not like them, blah, 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 whatever it is. If it pulls up enough emotion that just simply changing your thoughts isn't going to change your emotion, you need to process that emotion, okay? We have not been taught how to actually process emotion. What we have been taught is that our thoughts are like everything, right? I think, therefore I am. Our little sweet little prefrontal cortex, which only primates have a frontal cortex, humans have the biggest one. That's what separated us from all the other species on the planet, right? Body reminds us we're animal. Prefrontal cortex is like, hell no, we're not animal. We got this. And so we totally identified with thought. Just like I said, I think, therefore I am. And we've denied body. Well, body is what processes emotion, because as we talked about, emotion is a physical manifestation of a thought. As such, you cannot think your way through an emotion. You can't. What that does is, so what we try to do, because we're so much more comfortable in our thoughts, is we try to analyze our way through an emotion. Why am I feeling this way? What can I do about it? Well, this is what he said, and this is what she said. And we just get right back up into our thoughts. And guess what? We create more neurotransmitters. And then we create more negative emotion. And then we end up in a shit cycle is what I call it. So we have a shitty thought, which creates a shitty emotion. And then we go up and try and analyze that shitty emotion. And we create more shitty shots, which create more shitty emotions. And then we end up in this cycle, right? So the way to break that cycle is to get out of your thoughts. Go in and feel that emotion, okay? So here are the two questions. You're seeing a theme here. The two questions are, how do I know I'm experiencing anxiety? What does anxiety feel like? How do I know I'm experiencing frustration? What does frustration feel like? How do I know I'm experiencing sadness? What does sadness feel like? Then you have two things that you have to do. This is all you have to do to process an emotion. Stay out of your thoughts, one, and two, be an objective observer. So basically you want to be a little objective scientist, right? What do scientists do? They observe. They observe as objectively as possible, right? Scientists can't be like, oh, I see that this happened and that's the shittiest thing that could happen. No, all you can do is, this is what happened. This is my observation, okay? So processing emotion is a practice of mindfulness because it's focused awareness. You are bringing your awareness off of the train that it was on, off of the thought train. You're dropping that awareness into your body, and you are witnessing the physical sensation of that emotion. Your body knows how to process emotion. That's its job. Just like it heals physical wounds, it will also heal emotional wounds, okay? And just like with physical wounds, there's a little bit of work we have to do, clean it and dress it, and then we let the body take care of it. Same with emotional. We have a couple of things we have to do: get out of our thoughts, bring our awareness into our body, and observe the physical manifestation of that emotion. That's what we do, and the body does the rest. As long as we stay out of our thoughts, emotions only last about 90 seconds. Sounds crazy, I know. You probably are like, hell no, I've had emotions last longer, but that's because we create more neurotransmitters when we go back in our thoughts, and we create more emotional response, okay? The one emotion that lasts longer than 90 seconds is grief. Grief is a doozy. It's a very primal, it's a very big emotion. It lasts longer than 90 seconds, and it often comes with more more instruction. Your body's gonna tell you to do things like cry, wail, scream, punch, kick, stomp, run, laugh, sing. I don't know. It's going to tell you to do things because everything is energy. Everything that you see, everything, it's energy. It's made of energy. Some of the energy is slowed down way more than others, and so it becomes solid. But emotions are also energy. And so what is happening, I mean, like Einstein said, you can neither create nor destroy energy. It only transforms. So processing emotion is transforming that energy. And when we go up into our thoughts and we don't let the body process the emotion, that energy gets stuck in the body, okay? And it finds similar emotions from the past. It goes and cozies up with that little emotional wound, and then that wound gets a little bit easier to push on, okay? So you recognize that you're having a shitty emotion. You find that you're on this train. You ask yourself, is it true? Is it helpful? No. You either flip the coin. What am I grateful for? What are my opportunities here? Or you bring your awareness into your body and you allow the body to process that emotion. Let me see if I got everything there. Yes. Okay. So that's pretty much it for thought and emotion. Any questions on that?
I have one. I think I'm a little bit, I'm curious about the healing the emotion. Can you just say a little bit more about that process? I love the idea of like asking yourself how those things feel in your body. And then would you say a little bit more about that work?
Sure. So when you're actually having that emotion, you want to just stay present with it. You want to stay present with the physical sensation of that emotion. That is what is going to fully process that emotion. It's going to transform the energy, and it will move either through you or just transmute into something that's more usable than kind of a negatively charged energy. Now, I wasn't going to get into this, but you can also heal older emotional wounds. I'm not really going to dive into this too much. It's called inner child work. And you kind of have to go back and find that little child at the kind of initiating event and bring reality, So from ages 2 to 7, we don't really have much of any access to our prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex, which is higher thinking, is not fully developed till we're about 26 years old. So from 2 to 7, we're in mostly a theta brainwave, which is a very suggestible brainwave to be in. And that's basically where society and family imprints upon you. All the expectations of what is expected of you, who you should be, what you should look like, how you should talk, all that stuff, right? A lot of it is lies. We're raised in a highly traumatized society. And you can see that we live in a traumatized society because there's huge amounts of depression, anxiety, suicide, mass shootings, eating disorders, abuse, racism, homophobia. I mean, you can see the symptoms are everywhere. So it's near impossible to get out of childhood unscathed. So doing this kind of work to go back and heal the old wounds is really important. And how more often than not those get started is because from around 2 to 7, we're in a developmental stage that is sometimes referred to as egocentrism, where we believe that everything happens because of us, because of us. So mom is happy because of me. Mom is sad because of me. Dad is angry because of me. So we then create these stories. Oh, well, I'm only worthy of love if I'm making mom happy. So I should probably keep quiet and only be a people pleaser. Okay. So that's where these kinds of things start, is in childhood. So we have to go back and be like, yo, that shit's not true. You're innately worthy. Like, your worth is not contingent upon anything. But that's a whole other talk. Okay. So then Susie asked a question, which is, can you give examples of what opportunities are? So that, it obviously totally depends on the situation at hand. But what you want to start looking for is, okay, more often than not, opportunities are opportunities to learn. What can I learn from this situation? So you just kind of want to dig and see, what are my lessons here? What are available to me? And then if it's an actual kind of, problem that needs to be solved, just looking at what you're grateful for is going to shift you out of this kind of limiting mindset, and it's going to broaden your perspective, and you'll be able to see more opportunities for solving that problem. Okay. Any other questions along this? Yes, Sarah.
Unmute. Okay. Okay. Can you throw down another example of when you were talking about, how do I know I'm anxious? How do I know I'm happy or whatever? I'm assuming that's like nervous system reactions and things like that. And then like, what does it feel like when so like, to me, that's the same answer. So I'm wondering the difference between the two.
It's basically the same question.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's the same question. It's just stating it in a couple ways to hope that it like starts to make sense. So examples would be like, how do I know I'm angry? What does anger feel like? So anger feels like my heart is pounding faster than normal. It feels like my body's hot. I can feel my cheeks getting hot. It feels like my throat is constricted. It feels like my limbs are tingling. It feels like there's a knot in my stomach. And now that knot is kind of shifting, and I'm seeing kind of red coming from it. So you can see images, colors. You're noticing the feeling. You're watching it move and change because it's energy moving through your body. So does that help, that example?
Yeah. Totes.
Okay.
I was like, I feel like that's the same question. Cool.
Yeah, it is. It's just stated in two different ways to hopefully make it easier to do that piece of it. Okay. Anything else on these lines? Feeling good? All right. Let's move on to number 3. This is what I call shifting the inner critic to the inner nurturer. So I want you to think about the way you speak to yourself when you're maybe upset or not feeling great. Just think about some of the things you say to yourself. Now I want to ask you, would you say those things to anybody else, especially somebody you love? Would you speak that way to your best friend, to your mother, to your sister, to your brother, to your daughter, to your dog? I don't know. Would you speak that way to anybody else that you actually cared about? But what is the answer there? Most people, no. Now, the next question is why? Why would you not speak that way to them? Anybody can just unmute and let me know. Why not? Why wouldn't you speak that way to somebody else?
It's not nice.
It's not nice. Exactly.
Social norms, embarrassment.
Uh-huh. Good. So it's not nice. And even our society tells us it's not nice. Don't say those things to people. It's also not helpful, right? It's not going to help that person. If you're talking to your best friend and they've maybe done something, they've exhibited some behavior that they're not proud of, and you're not going to look at them and be like, you're a fucking idiot. Like, you suck. Like, you didn't get any, you don't know what you're doing. You're not going to say that. A, it's going to hurt them, but B, it's not going to move them forward. it's going to arrest their forward progression, right? It's going to shut them down. So when you're doing it to yourself, you have the same reaction happens. You shut yourself down. You stop moving yourself forward. You don't grow by speaking to yourself like that. I'm not saying that we don't, check in when we want to improve something, but think about how you would help a child improve something. You would look at, okay, well, we did this thing. We don't want to do this thing. Why did we do that thing? And how do we want to do that thing in the future? And it's okay. I forgive you, baby. You did a great job. We're learning. Next time we're going to try this way, right? That's how you help someone grow. That's how you move someone forward. This is how we need to start talking to ourselves. Now, our internal dialogue is also a thought train, right? It's a thought. So it's kind of in combination. You got to get off of that negative self-talk train and put yourself onto a nurturing self-talk train. So just because we turn 18 and our parents stop parenting us, well, some of us, took me a while to become an adult. Anyway, just because they stop parenting us doesn't mean we stop growing and evolving as a human. And if we're growing and evolving, we need nurturing. But as an adult, it becomes our job to nurture our own growth. Remember that. It is your job to nurture your own growth. So we want to use a nurturing internal dialogue. We do not need an inner critic. They're not helpful. What we do need is an inner nurturer. Your inner voice is going to nurture your own growth. You're going to have compassion for your journey, for your process. And you're going to use your inner wisdom to move yourself forward. Let's see if I got everything on that. Yeah, pretty much. Any questions about the inner nurturer? Feeling good? Feeling good. All right. Last thing that we're getting to, meditation. Yes, meditation, my favorite. I know. Everybody's like, ugh, meditation. All right. So you know that I am not the only one that is like, dude, meditate. It's so good for you. I am not the only one. You can go and look that shit up. There's tons of articles about the benefits of meditation. So I'm not going to get into that today. But here's why I find it to be so important. There's a number of reasons. One, when we are talking about how the only thing we actually ever have the ability to control is ourself. Granted, we don't often exercise that ability, but we should start practicing. And that the highest aspect of self is our aware consciousness or our conscious awareness. Meditation is literally the practice of focusing our conscious awareness. That's what it is. That's what we're doing. So it's just practicing helping you get a hold of your awareness and where it goes. So right now, we don't have a lot of control over where we focus our awareness. Our awareness is kind of like a spoiled little brat. It just does whatever the hell it wants. And instead of our prefrontal cortex, our higher thinking being a tool that we use, that evolution gave us to use, we are now the tool. And this thinking mind is always on. It's always chattering, mostly judging self, judging others. Why is she wearing that? Her hair looks stupid. I look stupid. Why am I? It just goes and goes and goes, right? So meditation is a way in which we can remove our awareness from the thoughts and bring it into the present moment. That's the practice. We don't meditate to get good at meditation. We meditate to get good at life. That's why we meditate. Okay. Now, what am I missing here? Meditation also lowers stress, which is huge, right? Stress builds to chronic illness. Stress is basically what they found is what creates almost all illness in the body. So taking some time to relax, to come into center, to do some deep breathing, to get quiet helps to lower the cortisol levels in our body, and it helps your body to start healing, right? Because this body knows what it's doing. This body is 4 billion years in the making. It is a highly intelligent organism. It is way smarter than we are. right? Our thinking self, our psyche, our egoic self, our personality is just a lifetime in the making. Maybe a little bit more, because we can read books synthesizing others' lifetimes of knowledge. We can put those in there too. So a little bit more than a lifetime. But the body, whew, smart, so smart. So we want to spend some time with it. We want to start to learn its language. We want to start honoring the inner wisdom. And that's part of what meditation does too. When we are able to remove our awareness from our thoughts and bring it into the depth of our being, to the quietness of our being, in that space, in the depth and quiet of our being, is where novel ideas arrive. That is where creativity lives. That is where new solutions come to be. Okay. Also, one of my favorite things about meditation is it's a spiritual practice. And I feel like as our society has become more secular, we have kind of left our spirit with religion. We thought that they went hand in hand, that we don't know how to use spirit outside of religion. So this is a way to kind of recapture or just to reestablish our own spirituality. In meditation is where we connect to our highest self, to our spirit self, to our divine self. It's also where we can connect to greater than. So great spirit, universe, God, Gaia, trees, animals, whatever, all the things. This is where we connect to other than or greater than. Okay. So I'm going to run us through just a quick meditation so that you can have a template to use. I really, really, truly believe that meditation is a bespoke practice. It is unique to you. And so it is ideal to go out and get a bunch of information, try a ton of different people's techniques, ideas, guided meditations, and take what resonates. If your little body's like, "Ooh, yeah, that feels good, I like that," then that's for you. If your little body's like, "I don't get it, I don't know, I don't like that," that's not for you. Let it go. And you're going to start to just create your own unique practice. Okay. One other thing is that I always encourage my clients to incorporate prayer into their meditation practice. And I know prayer can be a loaded word, similar to God, got kind of co-opted by religion. But prayer is just a word for how we speak to our higher self, how we speak to our divine self, how we speak to the universe, how we set our intention, how we ask for what we need. So when we find ourselves able to rest in the depth of being, in that open, quiet calmness, that's when we can start communicating. So meditation and prayer, it's like a conversation, right? Meditation is listening and prayer is talking. So it's a conversation we have with ourselves and the universe. Okay? Any questions about any of that before we get into the practical application of meditation?
I have one. So I, have dabbled in meditation through the years, but I definitely find that yoga is more a practice that I can commit to a little bit more. Can you, do you think that they could possibly be interchangeable? I know you're going to say no. I just want you to tell me why I can't just do yoga and not meditate.
You can just do yoga. That's huge, because yoga is if you're doing it, I don't want to use this word correctly, then it is a meditation, right? Because you're staying present with the physical sensation of that pose. So it is a meditation of sorts, but it's an interrupted meditation. You're shifting, you're moving, you're going from different places, and it's not a very settled place to then also practice prayer. And so yes and no. Okay. Now, the physical aspect of yoga, the asanas, those were created to calm the body in preparation for meditation. So even if it's just 5 minutes that you do right after you yoga, then just 5 minutes of just sitting quietly. I often tell my clients to just tack the meditation piece onto the end of their body movement in their morning routine, because similarly, like yoga, when you expend the energy and you're kind of moving the energy through the body and you're getting the body a little bit tired and you have more kinesthetic awareness, you're more in the present moment with what's going on in the body. That's a really good time to sit in meditation. Did that help at all? Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Sarah.
Hi, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
When you started talking about, okay, so I hate meditation. I don't want to go there. I have avoided it at all costs.
Mhm.
So you were saying that it's like finding your awareness and like you're removing your awareness from your thoughts. Did I miss that up? Like, can you say more about that just real quick?
Totally.
I'm not sure I understood.
Totally. So what I was saying is that our awareness spends most of its time unconsciously. We don't consciously think, oh, I'm just going to spend all my awareness time up in my thoughts, but that's just where it goes, right? We've been trained, it just lives up in our thoughts. Time only exists in our mind. The past is only in our mind, in our thoughts, and the future is only in our thoughts. The only thing that actually exists is the present moment right now. That's the only thing that actually exists. So we're practicing staying in the present moment. That's what meditation is keeping our awareness out of our thoughts and focused on the present moment. Okay. So the reason we drop into our body is because body speaks in sensation, and sensation is always in the present moment. It's always now, right? All of the senses in our body are always now. Sound is always now. So even when I'm guiding us through meditation, it can be like, oh, I wish she'd stop talking. But what you can do is get out of that thought, because that's a thought, it's a judgment, and just listen to the sound that is always right now. Sound is always in the now. So it's like you don't necessarily need to have an absolutely totally quiet spot to meditate, right? Because sound is anchored in the now. You can use it that way. So is sight, although it's very distracting. So we close our eyes when we meditate. But so this sensation, it's always in the now, right? So we're just keeping our awareness. I do this because I pull my awareness out of my thought cloud and drop it into my body. That's what meditation is. Did that help?
Yeah, totes.
Okay, cool. Anything else? All right. Oh, yes, Paige.
I'm curious about how you might describe the shift from the mind comes out of the thoughts and into the body, and then into a deeper spaciousness that kind of encompasses it all, but it's all sort of quiet, maybe. I don't know.
Uh-huh. Okay, ask me that question again.
Well, I'm feeling like so there's the practice, but the goal of the practice ultimately is to get to a deep, open, quiet space in which there's this like greater level of communion. So when you're aware of things, it just happens.
Okay. So here's a metaphor, and we'll use it in this guided meditation. So I'll tell you it now, so that you're already aware of it. And I'm thinking this might help, Paige. And we can go deeper if it doesn't. So you keep hearing me say when we get to the depth of our being, right? So if you imagine our beingness as like an ocean, let's imagine it as a nice warm ocean, nice tropical ocean, turquoise water. You can see all the way through. It's nice and clear. Up at the top of our being it's all wavy, and there's boats and there's kites and there's swimmers and there's, a whole bunch of stuff going on. There could be a storm. It's hectic up there, right? So that's like our thoughts. That's all life going on, happenings up here at the surface. But then if you start to let yourself sink down into that ocean and you eventually hit the bottom and you ground yourself there, down at the bottom, though you know what's happening at the surface, you're not up there anymore. You're down at the bottom where it is calm, even if there is a storm up top. Down in the depth, it's calm, it's still, it's vast, it's warm, and it's silent, right? So does that metaphor help? That's not a very convincing nod. Are you? I feel like there's another question in there. So really, the way to make it happen, it's just practice. It's just practice of staying out of the thoughts, of getting off the train and coming back to body, getting off the train and coming back to body. And something you can use when you do the image of sitting at the bottom of the ocean is if you get on a thought train, you just put that little train in an air bubble and release it, and it floats to the surface where it belongs. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Good. Okay. All right. So I want everybody to get themselves in a place where they can sit comfortably, vertebra upon vertebra. Go ahead and close your eyes. Okay. We're going to take a few deep breaths. And when you take your inhale, I want you to inhale. We're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. But when you inhale through the nose, I want you to imagine that inhale collects all the negative stuff, anything that no longer serves you. And on your exhale, a little forceful kind of blow out of your mouth to get rid of it. So go ahead, deep inhale in the nose. You collect everything that you no longer need. Blow it out, get rid of it, be gone. Inhale through the nose, collect all the negativity. Exhale, get rid of it. Do 2 more. Okay, now I want you to notice that your awareness is up in your thought cloud. And we're going to start to condense our awareness, just like how rain would start to condense in a cloud. And you're going to pull your awareness together and it's going to become heavy. And I like to picture it like a beautiful crystal paperweight. And that paperweight is going to start to sink down out of that cloud. It's going to go through the top of your head. And that beautiful paperweight of awareness is starting to sink through the mind, down through the neck, down along the spine, all the way down past the low back, that little curve. It's going to sink just past your sacrum, and it's going to settle in this beautiful little triangle between your 2 sits bones and your pubic bone. And that paperweight of awareness sitting in that beautiful little triangle is what's going to keep you grounded. This is your connection. And I want you to just take a few breaths, noticing this connection. How do you know that you're on this seat? How do you know that you're connected? What are the physical sensations of your connection? Just notice. If you end up on a thought train, just get off and come back to the awareness of your connection. And now we're going to spread our awareness a little bit. We're going to spread our awareness up to our breath. So we're going to keep a little awareness on connection. And now we're going to start to notice the way that our ribs expand and contract while we breathe. The way our chest rises and falls. The way the air is cool, coming in the nostrils on the inhale and warm, coming out of the nostrils on the exhale. We're going to take a little time just to maintain our awareness in the present moment, our awareness of connection and breath. And if you need to put your mind to work, you can think about little waves rolling in on the inhale and waves rolling out on the exhale, just like at the beach. And that can give your mind something to do, but we want to keep our awareness on connection and breath. If you find yourself in a thought, just get off the train and come back to connection and breath. Now we can start to expand our awareness a little bit. We're going to maintain some awareness on the connection and maintain some awareness on our breath. And now we want to move some of our awareness to our beingness, to just our existence. It's really our electromagnetic self. So we've got currents running all through the body and outside of the body, and this is what connects us to the energies of the universe and other people's energies. This is a huge matrix of electromagnetic information, and we are not separate from that. We have it all through us, all around us. And you can kind of feel a little buzz, a little hum of our life force energy, of our beingness, of our existence. What does it feel like to just exist in this moment? We are human beings, not human thinkings. What does it feel like just to be in this body, in this moment? And you can picture yourself, if you want, down at the bottom of that beautiful turquoise blue tropical water, grounded by your connection where your paperweight holds you down. Breathing is easy, even though we're underwater. And you can start to notice the expansiveness all around you and within you, the quiet, the peace. And we're just going to be here. A little awareness on connection, a little awareness on breath, and a little awareness on your beingness. If you find yourself in a thought, just put it in an air bubble and release it to the surface. Come back to connection, breath, and being. And if you find yourself in thought, again, just release the thought. Come back to the present moment. Settle your awareness into your body. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and put your chin to your chest. You can feel that nice stretch along the back of your neck and top of your shoulders, and savor that feeling. Really feel into it, how the back of the vertebrae open. You can shake your head a little, yes and no. And when you're ready, you can raise your head and open your eyes. Hi, everybody. You're so cute. How was that? Bye, Annie. It was nice to have you. Tell me your experience if you care to share. I'm curious how that went for you. Nice and calming. Anything else? How did it go for you, Sarah?
I hate meditation so much. I just hear myself screaming the entire time. I'm just not there yet, but I know I'll get there.
It's practice, just like anything, right? It's practice. It's literally forming new neural connections. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't have those yet. But I really like your analogies, and that was very calming. But yeah, I just hear myself screaming.
Yeah.
Really
Just keep at it. It will start to, the screaming might still happen. You just won't pay attention to it as much, right?
Yeah.
It can be up there
Maybe
screaming.
I just need to get that out, and then I'll have good practice.
Yeah. Like I said, I highly suggest adding your practice to the end of your workout, because after that, you've moved all that energy through. So a lot of it gets moved away. So then you can sit calmly.
Because people work out. Yes.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not always good at it either, but if you do it, get to it. Anything else, or shall we just wrap her on up? This was so fun. I'm open for any other questions or comments, and if not, then we'll say.
I loved the meditation.
Yay!
I loved the meditation. Thank you for doing. And I want to say that the first 3 weeks that I meditated, which was a bunch of months ago, was like torture, and then it was fine. But I just want to acknowledge the torture part of it. You could do it.
Thanks,
But I'm so
Susie.
thankful for it. And that was a really lovely meditation. So thank you.
Good. Yeah, you got it.
That was a lovely meditation. And I also have found for myself that guided meditation works better for me. Left to my own devices, it's really hard to shut up the chatter. But when I'm listening to somebody walk me through it, it feels a lot easier. So thank you.
Good. Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Take what works, and eventually you'll start creating your own, and you'll be able to do it on your own too. Not that you have to. I mean, like I said, it's what works for you. That's what we want to do. Find what works for you and do it. Whatever that looks like. All right. So I do offer, or how it is to work with me is I do a 12-week coaching program where we kind of do a lot of the inner work that might be holding you back from reaching your outer goals. So if you have any interest in that, I do offer a free 90-minute session. Our first one will be free, just so you can get a real sense of what it's like to work with me, understand what are the different tools that I bring to the table. And then I just really want people to make an informed decision before investing in a 12-week course. And so I love to offer the free 90-minute session. So if that is of any interest to any of you, you are more than welcome to take me up on that. My website is coachwoida.com. That's it, coachwoida.com, and you can sign up there. All right, love bugs.
Awesome.
You did a great job today. I'm proud of you.
Christina, thank you so much. We have a tiny, like a 3-question poll. I'm going to launch it right now. And I so appreciate that. That's such a generous offer. 90 minutes is that's really kind.
Yeah, we can get a lot done in 90 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. I might take you up on that offer, actually.
Please do. Please do. I would love to have you.
Awesome. And thanks everybody for joining. Joey and I are always here if you guys have any real estate questions or needs. We do free home evaluations if you own a home already. And yeah, we do service Oregon and Washington. So thanks for that. Also, donate to Campaign Zero if you can. One of our poll questions is about that. So we'll just let people wrap that up. And if anybody has any last minute questions for Christina, now's your chance. And I have a whiny brand new puppy, so she's in the background whining a little bit right now. Sorry about that. She's very sweet.
All right, guys, I'm sending love your way. Mwah!
Thanks for being here.
Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Christina.